I'm going to pick some tomatoes for this incredibly delicious thing called chilli jam. And at this stage in the year when tomatoes are beginning to look a bit ropey and I don't know, I just want to get them out, but I want to harvest lots in one go. It's a really good thing to use up all your excess harvest, and you can actually use green tomatoes too. Not too many, but you can use a few. So that's what I'm going to do, because I reckon they've really come to the end of their productive season. So that one will be fine, even though it's slightly green. I need half a kilo for the recipe that I'm doing. But, you know, I can just pick tons and tons and then just multiply up the recipe. And then you get your chilli to go in the chilli jam. This is one called Hungarian hot wax, and it's incredibly prolific. I don't bother to grow very many chilli varieties. In this country they just don't crop well enough, but this one is a really heavy cropper. And in here I've got good old Gardener's Delight, which you can't go wrong with, and then one of my very favourite tomatoes, which is called Costoluto Fiorentino, which means pleated of Florence. And you can see it's coming to the end of the season because it's got a little bit of mildew on it, but that doesn't matter, I can just wipe that off before I cook it. So that's the basis of our chilli jam. I've got to sterilise the jars before I pour the chilli jam into them, and there are various ways that you can do it. I mean, you can actually just boil the kettle and pour in boiling water and leave them for 10 minutes, or you can put them on the hot cycle in the dishwasher. But in this kitchen I've got a sort of agar. It's not an agar actually, it's called a Nobel, but I just shove them in the agar for about half an hour just while I'm cooking the chilli jam, and then they're sterilised. So the first thing I want are the tomatoes and the chilies, obviously, and I want half a kilo of tomatoes. Or I think I might make double quantities then, because I've got enough. So, perfect. And you literally to do anything, just throw them in. Oh, except to obviously take the tops off. And if they're a bit squidgy, like that one, actually that's a little bit rotten, but if they're a bit squidgy, it just doesn't matter. Because that's the whole point. This is a jam, so it's using up, you know, like you would make plum jam with this sort of slightly squidgy plums. This is a way of using up things that you wouldn't necessarily want to eat in a salad because they've gone tiny bit over. And then I'm going to do, because I've doubled the quantity, I normally do about 4 to 5 chilies for half a kilo of tomatoes. So I'm going to, this is a Whopper one, but it's quite mild. So I think I will actually leave the seeds in for that one because it's quite mild, but I will de-seed these because they're hotter. This is Hungarian hot wax, which is really like a sort of slightly peppy pepper rather than a chilli, a full-blown chilli, whereas these are really quite hot. So I'm just going to de-seed those. But if your family like things really hot, then you don't need to do that. My husband Adam doesn't like things hot. I mean, he probably actually may well not eat the chilli jam, but if he was to, he definitely wouldn't want it too hot. And then I've got ginger here. Use this bit. And again, I normally think a sort of good thumb size for one portion of this chilli jam. So I'm going to use the whole of that section. I can use those for something else, stir fry or something this evening, and then just put it down, shove it in. I'm going to chop it up a bit because it's so stringy. The blade will struggle a little bit with it. Nice and gingery. And then garlic, I would tend to do about 4 garlic cloves per portion, and so we'll move to 8. So I don't need to crush this because it's going in, but I just need to peel it. That's all ready for a whiz. So in goes the mixture. And 600 grams of caster sugar, and that's the preservative. It's tempting to cut down on that, but if you want to store it, you do need the sugar. Because I've doubled the recipe, I'm going to do 4 large tablespoons of fish sauce. Now obviously if you're doing this for vegetarians, you can exclude this, but it does give it a lovely extra tang. And then, to counter the sweetness of the sugar, I'm going to put 200 ml of red wine vinegar. There we go. And I'll bring it to the boil. And it will start to go treacly after about 10 minutes, and I'll give it another 10 minutes or so. And then it's done. So I'm going to bottle the chilli jam now. And it's lovely and treacly now when you stir it. So I'm going to get out just a couple of these. Because that, I think, will be enough. And these pans are really fabulous for making any jam because they have this very, very thick copper bottom, so the heat is really evenly distributed. And what you don't want with jam is for it to stick on the bottom and burn, because then the whole thing gets tainted. A good jam pan, if you like making preserves, is a kind of essential thing. And I use it for everything. I use it for, cooking vegetables. It's quite big, but it doesn't matter. You just put a little bit in the bottom, and for steaming, and so you don't have to just use it for preserving. A good pan is a good pan. Can you see it sizzling? And that's brilliant. Going into a hot jar is absolutely perfect, because that means it's really properly sterile. I've actually got enough for one more. It's Frizzy at the door. Hello, Frizzy man. Scarf off, I think. Don't want that in the chilli jam. There we go. So, from the tomatoes, I've got 2 large ones and then 1 3/4, which I was going to give. Oh, I forgot they're hot. I was going to give these as a present, but I won't be able to give that one now. But I can give that one as a present. And just so easy to make. I haven't had to attend to it at all. I've literally stirred it once or twice, so you can just do it while you're watching telly, listening to the radio, talking to your children, doing whatever. You don't need to concentrate. And then they're too hot now, but when they've cooled down, I'll just put their rubber seals on and seal them.